welcome to another edition of the program, Political Update. Don't forget, Political Update is that program where we bring you up to speed with happenings in our political scene. So many a lot of water has passed under the bridge in a couple of days in Nigeria as far as our political scene is concerned. We are going to be serving you every bit of those incidents that have shaped our political scene in the last couple of days on our news roundup. After that, we have a conversation. Yes, we are going to be looking at the role and the place of youth in the renewed hope agenda of the current administration of President Bola Tinubu. What is their place? What have they been enjoying? And what do they stand to enjoy? And how does the administration intend to improve and better their lives? These and many more we are going to be focusing on the conversation this afternoon. And we are going to be joined by someone who knows his onions and someone who is a national leader of the All Progressives Congress Youth League, and is going to be telling us the plans of the President Bola Tinubu as far as Nigeria's youth are concerned. But before we go into the conversation, let us quickly bring you up to speed as far as happenings in our political scene is concerned. It's no longer news that the nationwide protest, which people have demonstrated or used in demonstrating their or expressing, according to them, hunger and hardship in the country, started yesterday. Peaceful in some places, but same cannot be said in other places. But we have reports that no fewer than 17 persons were feared killed in Abuja, Kano, Niger, Borno, Kaduna, and Jigawa during the protest, which was held across the country on Thursday. They said it's going to be a 10-day protest. Will it be able to last for that 10 days? We really do not know. But today is the second day, and momentum, has already gathered in different protest sites across the nation, according to what we have been able to monitor. But one person was shot dead in Abuja and Kano, 2 killed in Jigawa, 6 others were reportedly gunned down by security forces in Niger, while 4 died in Borno and 3 in Kaduna. Very, very sad, really, very, very sad, and that's largely because the protest turned violent. Some persons seized the opportunity to loot. The rally began peacefully, but took a violent turn in some cities, leading to violent confrontation between the police and protesters. Meanwhile, the Federal Capital Territory Minister, Nyesom Wike, has actually met with President Bola Tinubu, and of course he has come out to say that the administration is open for dialogue with the organizers of the protest. So we keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully things, in the coming days, the protest will be peaceful, and we will not record any loss of lives. And of course, the organizers will actually come forward and press on their demands. And of course, the administration will also address these protesters. Moving on. The House of Representatives Public Accounts Committee has given a 60-day ultimatum to the Finance Minister, Wale, and the Accountant General of the Federation, Oluwatoyin Madeyin, to deploy the automation of foreign currency collection in Nigeria's foreign missions. Now, according to report, this automation exercise is to facilitate the control generated by foreign currencies from embassies by the federal government. And lastly, because of our time, because we have so much to unwrap as far as our conversation is concerned, let's quickly tell you that in Benue State, the state governor, that's Reverend Father Isent Alia, has approved the removal of the chairman of the State Independent Electoral Commission, Dr. John Chem. Now, the State House of Assembly on Wednesday recommended that he be removed from office as a result of some irregularities and some misconduct, according to the statement issued by the Chief Press Secretary to the governor. Said the governor accepted the resolution of the House, and so he stands removed from office. We are going to keep you up to tab. That's why we are here, as far as issues that shape our political scenes are concerned. That's the much we have for you on the news segment. We are going to go on this break. When we come back, we are going to dive straight into the conversation. Do not go anywhere. Political update it is. It is the conversation, the discussion segment where I told you earlier we are focusing on the place of youth in the renewed hope agenda. Don't forget that's the mantra of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration. And so we are looking at the place and the role of youth in all of this in the scheme of things. What plans really does the president and his administration have for the youth of the country? Quite a number of promises were made during the electioneering. And we have in the studio with us someone who is in the best position really to help us unveil these and how youths have been impacted since when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office on May 29, 2023. I have in the studio with me Comrade OLAMIDE LAWAL. He is the National President, APC Youth League, plus the fact that he is also Special Advisor to Ogun State Governor on Youth Development. It's a pleasure having you in the studio with us.
Thank you very much.
Now let us begin by looking at the renewed hope agenda and the place of youth in this in the scheme of things.
Well, as we all know that the youth constitutes the larger percent of our society, and considering the fact that the youth, a place of youth must be very, very dear to any reasonable government. And so also the president that we have today, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the youth are very dear to his heart. And most of his arrangements, most of his agenda are centered around youth. And we have been seeing some of these things. Let's take, for instance, immediately he came on board. As a serious government, he separated Ministry of Youth from Ministry of Youth and Sports. And as a person who wants involvement of young people in his administration, you look at the percentage of young people in his cabinet, you see that there is even also 2 ministers manning the affairs of the youth development, Ministry of Youth Development. So for such government, you know that he places premium priority on the youth agenda. And also, when he came on board, during his electioneering process, he promised that he's going to give attention to education and to the student at large. And the youth constitute the most percentage of the student constituency. So he initiated a student fund loan, and already over 20,000 or something like that have already benefited from such a thing. It shows that he prioritized the education of young people, and he doesn't want a situation whereby his youth constituency, the population of the youth will be half-baked as a result of economic situation of the country. At least when you know that a government is already funding your education, that's a government that believes in you. If it doesn't believe in young people, it will not come up with such idea. And also, it's also focusing on the things that has to do with the young people. And most of the young youths covers every sector. You have youth in agriculture, youth in ICT, youth in environment, youth in every. And so, to ensure viability of all those sectors, you make sure that they focus on the interest of young people. And that is why we have, in the area of agriculture, the government is doing everything within its reach to make sure that the youth are well carried along, and everything that is meant to be done are done. So literally, youth are playing critical role in the Renew Hope agenda. And all we can do as a people is that we should give support to that kind of government that as a young person, a government that initiated this kind of thing needs our support. It needs our support in all ramifications, no matter the challenges that we are facing. Challenges could come as a reform. Nothing good come easy. Also, but we need to keep appealing to our people that this current administration places premium on the interest of the youth. Yes.
The fact that it could even differentiate or separate the Ministry of Youth from the
Ministry of Youth and Sport.
Youth and Sport. It shows that he is interested in youth development.
Yes.
Now, let us also look at empowerment, really, that must have taken place under this administration since last year to this present moment. When we talk about empowerment, we are talking about either empowerment in form of employment or empowerment in form of skill acquisition. Have we had any?
Well, I forgot to say that the governor that we have in Ogun State too, is also a youth-centric governor, and also he has separated the Ministry of Youth and Sport. Yes, youth from the Ministry of Youth and Sport. So it shows that there is synergy between the federal government and the state government. And also, answering your question, there are a lot of initiatives coming from this government. And there are a lot of entrepreneurship assistance and grants, even loans that is coming from even SMIDAN. There are some that is coming from Nigeria National Authority of Employment. There are different initiatives that everything is centered towards the young people, because the reason is not far-fetched. Youth, the population of the youth, government cannot employ everybody. But they have realized that the best thing that they can do is to make sure that they create an enabling environment for individual prosperity to strive. So as such, the government is doing its best to create an enabling environment. Recently, they just launched a National Youth Investment Fund. People are still applying for it now, and I'm using this medium to urge our young people, particularly the youth of Ogun State, to also make sure that they explore that opportunity. Also, the government of Ogun State is also bringing up an initiative. If you look at when the government was launching electrical bike, it was stated that very soon there is going to be an Ogun State Youth Empowerment Scheme that will be initiated and fully focused. And also, there's also a campaign that every youth should acquire a particular skill. Because that is the most important. Now, in developed nations, everything is not based on the academic achievement, white-collar job. Everything is basically on the skills that you are able to acquire and how you are able to use that skill. So it's important. And today, even in Ogun State, we are not even going along the youth alone. They are initiating a 1,000 scholarship for young girls in our state to make sure that they also acquire their skills. When you acquire a skill, you know, it is important for you, after acquiring it, to be able to use it to feed yourself. So all those things are things that we are emphasizing on, so that people will not see that they do not know that all these things are in place. So all these are things that the government are doing to make sure that the youth are well empowered. And all those empowerment cut across every sectors. It cut across the agriculture. There are a lot of empowerment going on in agriculture. There are a lot of empowerment going on in the area of from the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, you know, and also there are other areas, and the government as well is improving in the area of infrastructure and security. So all these things are things that the government is doing, and they need our support.
Definitely the government needs our support. Nigeria has one of the highest youth population, not just in Africa, not just in West Africa, but globally. And so any government really that is worth its salt would actually not toy with that demography of population. Now let us look at some of these things that you have said. Very, very laudable, very, very laudable. But how much of communication, how much of these are known, you know, by the average youth, and how can the average youth key into some of these initiatives that you have mentioned?
Well, thank you very much. You know, in terms of feeding the people about this information, letting them know, this is part of it that we are doing. And you know, we are also in a digital age now. Everything, they don't even base everything on social media. They always make sure that they get to the grassroots with their information. But from our own end, in APC Youth League, we are trying to come up with an idea that, you know, a platform. We are already talking with the government through the secretary to the government of federation that we need to create a platform at which people can actually get, the government can get direct responses from people from the grassroots. You know, either by designing an application, or either by opening a particular office that will be centered on, you know, when you are not a political appointee, or when you are just a political mobilizer, you have access to a lot of people, you have access to what they are saying, you have access to their yearnings. And when you are able to gather all these things, you will be able to table it to the government and say that this and that, these are their observations, these are their yearnings. And the government does, it cannot know everything. That is why that information gathering is also very, very key. So, and people don't make use of their representative. Every ward has a councillor. You understand? That is one of the roles that the federal government has played. That now everybody will be well represented. Every ward has a councillor. Every state constituency has an honorable member. Every federal constituency has a rep member. And every senatorial district has a senator. You know, and they are all in the known of things. So people should get involved in the process and approach their representative. They are the one, they are their mouthpiece. Once you have that, every of your concern can be addressed through your representative.
Now, we are going to look at two major areas where youth can actually be maximized, or the abilities of youth. Talking about ICT and agriculture, which you mentioned. The strength or the glory of the youth is in their strength, and of course you need, you know, strong people for agriculture, because food is also necessary for our development. And then ICT, which is actually, you know, some persons have said it's a new oil. But before we touch on that, let us look at expressing grievances, really, or, you know, having conversation with government. At the moment, the youths are on the street, all in the name of protest. We've seen something like this before in 2020, and now we are experiencing it now. Is this the only way the youth can have access to those in power?
Well, thank you very much. We have listening government, And you can see that that's why we are, at our hand, we are advocate of dialogue. You know, even after World War, it is Jojo. As a former student union president, I'm very well rooted in struggle. And I can tell you that the orientation that we have is that in struggle, there are 3 C's. You don't even start with confrontation. You need to do your consultation and consolidate on whatever discussion that you've had. But this current issue that we are having at hand, there has not even been any consultations on anything. If I have a challenge, if I have anything, I should be able to lay it to the table. And when I lay it to the table and I get response, my responses will determine the next action, whether we are going to confront, and even after confrontation, we will still sit down around the table and iron things out. And on this one, before I stay further, I must commend Ogun State youth for always exhibiting the trait of Omoluabi. And you can see that even in the statement that the governor made yesterday, he commended the youth and students that they stood out. We can see every other places what they have experienced in the name of just protest, because some hoodlums always look for such opportunity to tap in and cause chaos. But in Ogun State, we have progressive youth who always exhibit the trait of Omoluabi in them and do whatever they have to do, even though we just have a very minute number of such people on the streets. And even everything is already, normal economic activity is already going on. You understand? Because the message has been heard. And the government has already said that they are working on all your yearnings. And we do tell people that this is a democratic setting. If you feel that what this current government is doing, you are not pleased with it, you will wait till the election time before you take any step. He has been elected. You can always bring on board to accountability, to be accountable for whatever he has done. But you cannot just wake up one day with some people somewhere with a bad motive to come and create chaos in our country. We all experience what happened in other regions of the country. Is that what we're yearning for? For instance, in Kano, a digital park that has not even been commissioned, that is stated that will be beneficial to the youth. We just burst into that place and destroyed everything. Whose resources are they going to use for that again? Is it not the same scarce resources?
Very unfortunate.
That is why we keep engaging young people every time, talking to them that, no, girls, let us get involved in it. If you know you have idea, get involved. This idea, you can have the platform to also use these ideas.
So unfortunately, the way the protest has turned out in some other places, but I mean, things have been perfect here, calm, under control here in Ogun State, and we hope and expect that it will continue so. We would have loved to engage you on other issues, but time will not actually permit us. But we must thank you so much for your time to come and reel out the plans of the current administration, both in Ogun State and at the federal level, for youths, not just in Ogun State, but across the country. We must thank you so much. I've been speaking with Comrade OLAMIDE LAWAL, who is the National President, APC Youth League, and also the Special Advisor to Ogun State Governor on Youth Development. That's the size of the program. Many thanks for watching. Next week, we are going to be back here again for another episode of the program. Enjoy your weekend.